Good morning from Pearl River KNAC. Another beautiful sunny, sort of sunny day outside, and we're glad that you're joining us via the internet. And we're glad that you're able to be a part of our service this morning. As we open the service this morning, a couple of prayer requests that have been brought to our attention. And that is that Miss Jessie's father passed away this week. I'd like to remember her family in prayer this week. Remember the church members that we are unable to meet face to face. I'm sure there are plenty of prayer requests for you that have been aired already to us. We ask too that we don't forget the world situation, that we are hoping that things are starting to lighten up a little bit, but we also remember that we need to continue distancing and continue practicing safe habits with our situation. I'd like to also take a moment to say thank you for those who have continued to support the church through their tithes and offerings via the mail, text messaging. And if you have any questions on that and don't know how to do that, we'd be more than glad to give you that information. Just call the church. Yes, now too, we go to the word of prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you again for the day we've been able to come together, even though we can only come together in spirit, Lord. And we ask now that you take the songs that the praise team presents, Lord, and worship service will be developed, Lord. That our hearts will be stirred, Lord, so that those who are needing the touch of you on their lives, Lord, and those of us who are present here, be with the preacher as he presents your word to us, Lord. We ask now that you join us in song as we open up the prayer.
Hallelujah.
glory today. We give you honor today, Lord Jesus. Glory and honor. Jesus' name.
Thank you, Jesus. Hallelujah. During this time when we're away from our church building and we're just here with cameras and our people aren't here, all of you that we love so much, our hearts are with you. But just know that the Lord isn't far away. Just because we're not together in this building doesn't mean we're not together in spirit. And it doesn't mean that He's not right with you, right where you are. He's here with you today. Wherever you're at, He's here beside you. He's here with you in spirit, and He's here with you. He loves you, and He will never fail you. He will never let you down. I might let you down. I might hurt your feelings. I might make you mad, but I promise you, the Lord will always be there. He'll never let you down. He will never let you down. Spirit of the living God, come and consume all that we are. There's only one thing, Lord, we desire. Won't you come and set our souls on fire? We want more, Lord. We want fire burning. 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 Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. Set a fire down love. No place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be than here in your love. Here in your love. Thank you, Jesus. I praise your name, Lord.
Well, praise the Lord, everyone. I hope you're excited about being able to worship the Lord today with us. We're certainly excited about being able to come in your home today and feel the presence of the Lord. We feel the presence of the Lord in this place today, in this house. This is where we choose to meet. But the house of God is wherever you choose to worship Him. And so if you're at your house today, you're in the Lord's house. I like what the Bible said, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I don't know if there's something wrong with that. There's something circling on it.
Yes, sir.
Y'all already know that. Okay, well, we'll make the best of a bad situation. We hope that you're being able to watch today. Trust that God is strengthening you. I know that each day, if it wasn't for the strength of the Lord, we couldn't make it. But it's His strength. And we thankful today that God is strengthening each of us for the journey ahead and for what is going to happen. I do believe that when all of this is over and behind us, I believe that we're going to see people run into the church, seeking the face of God. Just a few weeks ago, we would have never imagined that anything like this could have happened to us in America so quick, such a short length of time. It's hard to imagine that this could happen. But it shows you just how quick, when the Bible talks in the book of Revelation, the Bible talks about the things that are going to come, the plagues that are going to come upon the earth. And you know, I think that a lot of times people over the years have just thought, ain't no way that can happen. But I believe after this coronavirus has hit the United States and the world, people realize just how quick things can change. And so I there again today want to say, as I've said to you, I believe each Sunday that I came to you and each Wednesday night that I've come to you, we need to heed this as a wake-up call. Because I still believe that what the Word of God said, there were things that were taking place, and He said this is just the beginning of sorrow. We know that one day, when God gets ready to call His children home, this world won't be fitting to live in. But I'm thankful that we have a home. In John chapter 14, the Bible said, let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would not have told you. He said, I go to prepare a place for you, that where I am, there ye may be also. So we understand there is a place called heaven where we're going to live with Jesus forever and forever. What a beautiful day. It's going to be a beautiful day when we finally make it to heaven and we're reunited with our loved ones that have went on to be with the Lord. And I have a mother, I have a father, I have many friends that went on to be with the Lord. And I'm just thankful for that. And I want to get into the Word of the Lord today. And if you just excuse me sitting here today, I would appreciate it. A little bit weak, but the Lord is going to strengthen us. I want to take my thought today from 1 Kings chapter 19. 1 Kings chapter 19. And, someone said, you preach a whole lot out of the Old Testament. Well, that's where the law is at. And the law is a good thing. Someone said, we're not living under the law. No, but the law is still good, and if we live according to the things of the law, not talk about your salvation, but I still believe the law is good to live our life by, and it's good to be able, if you can live these things which are written, we will be able to please God. My greatest desire is to please the Lord. You know, I live here, and Reese and I, we have a very good relationship. I'll wash the clothes, I'll wash the dishes, I do the cooking, and she sits back and enjoys it. Not really. But I do try to pull my weight around the house, and I was picking at her, I think it was last night or the night before, and I told you that my dad thought if the Lord come, you had dirty dishes, and the dishes and sink you might be lost, and he didn't really feel that way, but he didn't like dirty dishes, and I guess it passed on to me. It don't matter, it can be 2 plates, it just gets on my nerves. So I said, I'm going to wash these dishes, and Reese said, don't touch those dishes. I got it. I don't know about my business. A few minutes later, they wouldn't wash, so I got in there and I started washing. And she said, I told you not to touch those dishes. It finally went off in my head to realize that she realizes if she'll leave them there long enough, I'll wash those dishes. And when I made that statement, she said, I am busted. And so I know that that's not really the reason she does it, but I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good father. I want to be a good pastor, a good leader. I want to be a good role model. And we have to work at those things. They don't come naturally. We don't become good because we were born to good parents. I know some of the greatest parents in the world, and they raise young men and young ladies that were just so disappointing when people say, I've known their father, I've known their mother, and they're nothing like them. It wasn't because that they didn't come from good genes or good parents, good bloodline. It was simply they didn't work at it. Our relationship with God, it is good because we work at it. If we receive Christ into our life and we repent of our sins and we go as far as to be filled with His Spirit, baptized in the name of Jesus, and we don't continue to work on it, we're not going to be good Christians. But one writer said, it was Paul said, I die daily. What he meant was every day there's a reason for that old man to try to get up and come out of that grave. You don't have to do a lot to resurrect that old man inside, but especially if you deal with got an old man inside like Pastor's got. He wants to get out. He's fighting, he's crying to get out. But most of all, we need to please God. And if we please God, then one day we're going to stand before Him and we're going to hear Him say, well done, thy good and faithful servant. I'm going to read today from 1 Kings chapter 19, a few verses of Scripture that I want to read to you today. 1 Kings 19, it says, and I preach this all the time, just felt intrigued to preach it again. It's not new, maybe just want to bring it to you just a little different. Verse 1 said, and Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and with all how he had slain the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also, if not, let the gods do me, and also if tomorrow about this time I don't do to you what you've done unto them. Then he went his way. When he saw this, he arose and went for his life. Now this is the man that had just killed 400 prophets of Baal, 450 prophets of the great name. He said, but when he saw this letter, he arose and went for his life and came to Beersheba, which belonged to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness and came and sat under a juniper tree and requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough, O Lord. Take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And as he slept under the juniper tree, behold, an angel touched him and said unto him, Arise and eat. I want to speak to you today on the subject, a second touch. Everybody say it. A second touch. We go on and bring you back just a little ways, and not going to spend a lot of time on it, but the Bible talks about that Jezebel, this evil, wicked woman, the wife of King Ahab, she hated the men of God. She hated the prophets of God. So she was killing off the prophets of God. And so the Lord told Elijah, he said, just get out of town. I want you to go down. I want you to hide yourself by Brook Chariot. And there I've already commanded the ravens. They're going to feed you there. You're going to drink out of that brook. But I'm going to cover you and I'm going to hide you. Aren't you thankful that sometimes when things just get to be too much, that the Lord will take us and just hide us out. He'll hide us under his wing. And so that's what he had done to Elijah when he told him, he said, just get out of town and you go and you hide out. And he said, but before you leave, I want you to prophesy to Ahab, and I want you to tell him that there shall not be rain nor dew until I say. We all know that famine lasted for over 3 years, 3.5 years that famine lasted. But he told Ahab, he said, not at the word of the Lord, at my word. But what Elijah was doing, he wasn't speaking in himself. He wasn't speaking because he was mad, because Jezebel was killing off the prophets. He was speaking as the orator of God. He was speaking as God. And he said, according to my words, there shall not be rain or dew. So he takes that journey down by the brook. And there the Bible said, just as the Lord had told and spoke to Elijah, every morning there came a rain, and he dropped off food. And then he could drink by the brook. And I don't know how this went on. We understand it was 3.5 years of drought that Israel had went through. I don't know how long it was that he ate from the raven and drank from the brook. But the Bible said one day the brook dried up. And the raven didn't come. I can imagine Elijah had got accustomed to sitting out probably under a tree, waiting to hear that raven come, screaming, dropping off whatever food that he had caught that day. And there he would prepare it on the fire. He would eat it, he'd drink, but he gets up and there's no raven. No bird coming. No friends there to help you out. And said, well, at least I'll go down and I'll get a drink. Maybe something happened. But he goes down to this brook. And to add insult to injury, the brook's dried up. And there's not even any water to drink. And Lord, what are you doing? You commanded me to come here. You told me that you would take care of me. You see, if you live for God any length of time, and your heart has been right with God. See, some people claim to live for God, but they just say they live for God. But if you really live for God and your heart is pure before God, God will sustain you, and God will take care of you. And everything, one writer said, everything that you lose for the sake of the Lord, you're going to gain it. It'll be better. I've never lost anything for God that he didn't replace it. And it was so much better when he replaced it than what I had. Because my capabilities can only do so much. So now here we got a raven don't show up, we got a brook dried up, and Lord, what do we do? And the voice of the Lord said, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go down the Zarephath. You're going to find there's going to be a little widow woman there. And she's going to be gathering sticks, and you're going to find her, and she's there. They're going to eat their last meal, and her and her son, they're going to die. So the prophet gets up, and he does as God told him to do, and sure enough, just as God said, there's that woman, and she's gathering sticks, And the prophet of God goes up and talks to her in this conversation. Said, hey, ma'am, would you mind baking a cake for me? And she explained to him, I'd love to. But I only have enough meal left in the barrel and enough oil in the cruse to feed me and my son, and then we're just going to die. And the man of God, to me it would have been very hard to say, well, bake me a cake first. I'd have been thinking, well, if y'all can spare a little bit. You see, but God blesses us. This is not a tithe message, but we throw that in there. Anyhow, the devil's mad anyhow, so let's throw it in there. God blesses us when we give off of our first fruits. I believe that woman could have said, well, I'll cook for me and my son, but didn't have left to give it to you, and should have probably died after that. But the Bible said that she went and before she made a cake for her and her son, she done as the man of God said. She made a cake for him. And the Bible said that when she had made that cake and had given it to the man of God, and she went back to that cruse of oil and to that barrel where that flour, that wheat, whatever it was there, when she went back, there was more. And the Bible said throughout that famine, that cruse of oil and that barrel never run dry. Why? Because I'm here to tell you today, God is faithful. He's faithful. Now there's times in our life that I'm trying to teach you today. There's times that we go through things in our life that we get to a point that what we got yesterday just ain't enough. Many years ago, a songwriter, and I can't even remember, I can usually tell you who wrote the song, especially if I never sang it. But they wrote the song, Lord, I need a brand new touch. My touch from yesterday is gone. But if you'll give me another touch, I'll have the strength. You see, there's times we need a second touch. We need God to reassure that everything that I promised you is going to turn out just like I said it and to be better. I want to tell you something today. I want to speak to you into your homes today. That whatever promise God made to you, there's been times in the last several weeks that I've had to go back, and even though that prophecy is not on that wall, Reese, that I've had to go back, and in my mind, I visualize that prophecy that Brother Johnson wrote on that wall, and I get another touch from that prophecy. I get another touch there. I've had men of God that called and spoke to me and texted me and said, Brother Hoyt, hold on. Another touch is coming. Had a man of God spoke to me the other day and said, it ain't now, but in a few days, your wife and your family will have peace. I believe that. Why? Because I know that if God promised it, God will bring it to pass. So whatever you're facing today, in your home, or whatever you're going through in life, they may be talking about picking your car up. They may be, we know they're not because they're not supposed to do it. Maybe talking about cutting your electric off. Whatever the problem is, you may be facing a divorce today. Whatever. What you need to do is fall on your face before God and say, God, I need a second touch. I wouldn't be here if it wouldn't be for the first touch. But today I'm asking you, Lord, to give me a second touch. So now the woman is sustained through this, and the Lord speaks to Elijah and said, it's time. Elijah, go prophesy to Ahab and tell him what I tell you. So we know the story of how he went to Ahab and the prophets of Baal and the prophets of the graven gods. They got together and they called upon God, and all this happened, and they made the agreement that God that answered by fire would be the God that they would serve. And the moral of the story, the gods of Baal couldn't speak. The gods of the graven images couldn't do. The guys that worshiped their prophets, the Bible said, took their swords and they rent their flesh and they bled and they cried, answer that, but he never answered. It got so bad that the prophet of God got to feeling so confident about himself, he got to making fun of them and said, cry out a little louder. Maybe your God's asleep. Maybe he went on vacation. Man, we're talking about a man that's sitting on top of the world. He's got faith in God. He believes that God's going to do it. And then the Bible said that when it was all said and done, and Elijah tore that altar down, and he rebuilt that altar, and he began to call on Jehovah God, we all know what happened. Fire came down from heaven, and the Bible said it consumed the sacrifice. It left up the barrels of water that was poured around in the trench. It was gone. It was God's way of answering. I am Jehovah Jireh. I am the God that provided. And so when Elijah realized that God had answered, the Bible said he goes to the top of Carmel, he begins to pray, and he said, God, you need to let it rain. And you know what the Lord told him? Go tell the king. Because what happened? Do you remember what happened in the first part? He said, it ain't going to rain till you say it's going to rain. Or he said, till I say it's going to rain. So when the Lord told Elijah, when he saw that hand out over a cloud mountain, he said, oh, it's going to rain. And he went down. Here's Ahab going down with his chariot. He said, you better get off the top of this mountain, lest the rain do hinder you. Because I hear the sound of abundance of rain. Can I tell you that there is an abundance of rain that is going to hit Pearl River, it's going to hit America, it's going to hit your home. I don't care what you're facing today. Pray for a second. Pastor, I can't go no more. Pray for a second. I've already got pray for a third time. Don't quit going to the Lord in prayer, because he is Jehovah Jireh. He is the God that will provide for you. So here this wicked king goes down off top of the mountain, and the rain comes down just as the Lord said. How many times has God done great things for us in our life? Move mountains out of our way. I mean, God has literally moved mountains. Now, not a mountain, but what I'm saying, as a problem that I knew there was no way in this world that this could work out without God. I've been there lots of times in my life. In fact, I've probably spent about half of my life in that place. God, if you don't do this, it ain't going to happen, because I need a miracle from you. I want to tell you something. You know what it takes to get a miracle? You got to need one. You got to need a miracle to get a miracle. And so there's been so many times in my life that I needed a miracle. I needed a way out. I needed an answer. And God would step in and he would take care of it. So here is this mighty prophet of God. God has fed him over 3.5 years. Then God sent him to this widow woman, and he feeds her throughout the family. Then he sends him to the wicked king, and what he prophesied came to pass. But one letter from one wicked woman by the name of Jezebel that came to him rocked his entire world. That's amazing, isn't it? It just goes to show. Now let me say this. Don't fall out with Elijah. Because every man and every woman has a breaking point. We have a place that we can go that the old saying is, the old timers used, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. I can't go any further. I'm tired, I'm weary, and I can't go any further. I quit. I give up. Oh my God, if I could, if I were to write a book, the majority of the book would have been the times that I quit. The times that I said, Pastor, oh yes, I quit. God, I'm done. I ain't going to do this anymore. This didn't work this. I didn't sign on for this. My wife didn't sign on for this. My wife don't deserve this. My family. I quit. Only for the Lord to speak to me in that little sweet voice saying, I didn't quit. I didn't quit. When they made fun of me and they pierced my side and put the crown of thorns on my head, I didn't quit. You can't quit. I didn't tell you to quit. You can't quit. So we find ourselves going back and asking the Lord to give me a second touch. I don't know about you today, but I need a second touch. I need the Lord to touch me today. I need to feel that God, everything don't matter. You know, because as long as I know that He keeps continuing to touch me, it don't matter about no devil in hell. I'm not afraid of the devil. I'm not afraid of people that are used by the devil, because I know a God that is greater than any mountain that will ever be put in my way. My God, can I tell you today just how great your God really is? You don't even really know. But perhaps you could be facing something that you will understand just how great your God is. I was thinking, someone said the other day, it was a very true statement, and you know, along with a lot of the churches that felt as I did that it would be good to not gather in large groups, and they quit. And some of the churches that still going on are asking, where is your faith? To some of the groups that didn't. Well, you know, it's God gave me faith, but He also gave me some sins. And you know, you can go out and play in the rain in 20-degree weather, but you ain't going to be able to cuss the fluid that comes on your body because you're ignorant. So we have to use Him, but whatever. You know, I believe that, you know that done, you know, there's been times I've done ignorant things and God overlooked it. But I don't want to challenge Him. I want to trust Him. And I want to believe God that when all this is said and done, God is fixing. I understand that God is shaping our world. And I believe when all this is said and done, that we're going to come through this. I don't care what you hear. I don't care what the devil's telling. You need to listen at your man of God. I'm the man of God for this church today. And as long as I'm here, I'm the man of God for this church. And you need to listen to the man of God for this church. And I stand before you, and I don't care what you hear. I'm telling you, God's about to give this church a second touch, and will be stronger, and will be more powerful, and will be greater than ever. We just got to hold on and trust God. It ain't over. It ain't over. But sometimes we can let our emotions, we can let our human emotions get a hold of us. And Elijah, he just tired. Tired. You know, this wasn't the first time he'd been tested. This is the first time he had to prophesy against wicked kings and wicked women. And so you just got to point, I'm tired of this. You know, can we have something new? And so the Bible said that he ran off. And when he came to Bathsheba, he left the servant there. What he was saying, I won't be coming back. I'm going to the wilderness to die. I've had enough. So he goes out, and the Bible said he went out and he found a juniper tree, and he laid up under that tree, but before he went to sleep, he began to pray, God, it's enough. I've had enough. I don't live anymore. I'm tired of being lied on. I'm tired of being attacked. I just can't deal with this anymore, God. Take my life, I know better than my father. Take my life, and he probably done like some of us do sometimes. He prayed himself to sleep till he was exhausted and fell asleep. But the Bible said that an angel of the Lord came and he touched him. And he said to him, Elijah, rise up, eat, drink. Probably the first thing he thought, you realize where I'm at? I'm in the wilderness. There's nothing out here to eat. What am I supposed to eat? But the Bible said that there was a cake there cooking on the coals. And a cruse of water sitting there. So Elijah, he eats and he drinks. But he's tired. He just really wants to be left alone. Don't want that long to read. I want to be left. And he goes back to sleep. But then the angel touches him. the second time and said, Elijah, rise, eat and drink. The journey that is before you is great. That's what I want to say to you that are listening today. The Bible tells us not to be weary in well-doing, or we faint not in due season we're going to read. I want to say this to our church here, that you have been so faithful and you've been kind and you've stuck with Reese and I as we've done, as we have followed God. And not saying that every decision we made has been perfect, but as we have followed God to the best of our knowledge, and you have stuck with us and held our hands up, we wouldn't be here without you. Thank God for great men, great women of this church that encourage us, that we appreciate you. But he said, wake up. The journey is too great. I want to say to you today, the journey that God is fixing to send this church on is too great for us to take it in the natural. And that's why God sometimes has to get us to a place that we'll quit eating. Start fasting. That's never about a cuss word to this preacher. I remember the Tenny-Mo district superintendent said, when Jensen Franklin asked him, said, well, Brother Tenny, what kind of fast do you like to go on? Brother Tenny's a pretty good sized man. He said, well, Jensen, I ain't much into that fasting. I'm more into that feasting. Brother Tenny liked him, but he believed in the fast. But he was being confident. But sometimes God has to put us to a place through going to test me. To where we begin to fast and we begin to pray. Recently I was talking this week, we spent, and if this coronavirus hadn't done anything but put me and her back to turning off some devices and spending time united together with the husband and wife and the leaders of this church, it's done that. We are communicating. And as we begin to communicate, later on this week was some events that happened. And in one way I'm ashamed to make this statement, but in another way I'm not. But I looked at her and I said, baby, I'm nearly about back to where I was 30 years ago when I started pastoring. Now you think, and I know some of you think, well, you were probably pretty ignorant, and God knows I was. Who in their right mind would let a 23-year-old young man with a baby pastor a church? That I was elected to the church. And I went there, and it was so ordained. You see, when God tells you stuff, you can put it to bed. Just to give you just a brief synopsis of how it happened, I'm asked to come preach on Sunday night for this pastor. I love this man. He was a good man. The service was over, the parson got back and he said, I want you to come eat with us. So we go over and eat. We sat there eating. And I can't hardly look this man in the face, Don, and eat with him. Because when I walked into that house, God said it won't be many days you'll be living in this house. And I thought, but I won't live in this house. And then I began to eat a little bit more, and I did my composure back. And God said, it won't be many days you'll be the pastor. You're 23 years old. Man, I'm just getting started, Kevin, on evangelism field, enjoying things, just joined the organization, had a world open up to me to be able to travel and enjoy life. What 23-year-old wouldn't want to travel and just enjoy his life? I'd done been preaching a couple of years, full time, but I didn't have the circle that the organization had opened up to me. And I'm thinking, God, why don't you be quiet? Because surely if I can hear you, the pastor can hear you. That's how God was speaking. the church, and I wanted to get away from this man so bad. I said, it's okay, bro. We can find our way. We'll be all right. And so I walked off of the steps of that house. And I walked around the back side of the church. It was a beautiful church. The church was built in the 40s. It was a little lighter. It eventually burned. It took about 5 minutes to be set on the ground. But it was beautiful. The front of the church was beautiful. But the back of the church was terrible. And so when I walked, and I just about know that he went inside, and he shut the door, I told my wife, when I pastor this church, that's the first thing I'll fix. And she laughed. I said, what do you mean? When I got in the car, I said, God said to the pastor of this church. She said, when? God knew. Because to you that don't mean nothing. But I didn't have a job. I got hurt in the shipyard. I didn't have a job. No money coming in. Work was comp and cut off. I was living from picking up job to picking up job because I had a brother that would pay my bills, but I didn't want that. We got in the car and she said, when? Why didn't you? I said, I don't know. But I know what God said. And this was on a Sunday, and I had a little job going just a few miles from my house. And I had a dirt bike. We only had one car, so I rode my dirt bike to the job. And this is on a Monday. I preached on Sunday. And the phone rang, and the lady didn't have cell phone. And the lady I was working for said, Lord, somebody will start me on the phone. I got on the phone with my wife. And she said, I got one question to ask you. I said, okay, what? I figured, go by the store, go to the, and I don't want to know exactly, just look it up. She said, was you serious about what you said about pastoring? Now, okay, I'll be united across the church. I said, oh yeah, I'm serious. She said, the pastor just resigned. He's called the church. He told the church that Wednesday night he will give his resignation. And so by this time, word's getting out. My brother said, we'll call, put your name in the hat if you want. No, not doing that. Never done anything. You see, because the problem is when God tells us something, we won't let God do it. We start trying to work on it. I said, God told him, he's going to fix it. I ain't doing a thing. Not one thing. So Wednesday night passed. And by the following Monday, my pastor had received a phone call. Would you allow your brother to pastor the church? That's how God works. Now, he don't always work that fast, but Angela, I've seen him work that fast for you. Sometimes we got to go live by a brook. Sometimes we got to go to rain. And then sometimes that's go. And then sometimes it's a widow. But there's one thing for sure. God always has another touch for you when you can't go no further. When you can't go a step further, God has a touch. Now here's the Elijah. He's done everything God said, and now he's got a letter. It's tore him up. I can't take this. I'm tired of this. So he hides out. And now the angel has come twice to him. And he said, the journey is too great for you, Elijah. Now get up, eat, wash your face. And the Lord began to speak to him on what he was going to do. But sometimes we get to feel it a lot like, I may be dropping the we get to feel it a lot like Elijah. I'm just tired. And this is what Elijah told the Lord. He said, but Lord, you don't understand. I'm the only one left. Everybody else has turned away from serving you. They quit following the man of God. They're worshiping them. They're idol worshipers. They're following Jezebel. That wicked woman. We have never lived, and I know I'll make the devil mad, but I hope I'll make him mad nothing blows up. We have never lived in a society when the spirit of Jezebel is running rapidly in our world. It is rapid. He's always picking on the women. Jezebel can be in a man also. But it's predominantly in women that don't want to submit themselves to the authority of a male in their life. But I bet some Jezebel will be into it. But what's sick is, I mean, a bunch of Ahabs that will get Jezebel put back where Jezebel needs to be put. But you know, Lord, what am I going to do? You know, Jezebel wants to kill. And there's nobody left to serve me. So if I go back, who am I going to preach to? Because we all know what Jezebel has done to the majority of the men. This is, we on the air, I'll say it, you can move, you can use your imagination. She took their manhood away from them. And when a man's manhood is taken away from him, he loses his authority to speak. He can only speak when Jezebel says he can speak. Who do I preach to? And the Lord said, Don, I got 7,000 hadn't bowed the knee to Jezebel, and they eat one drop of meal from her table. I'm going to talk to you today. I'm coming to you very weak in the flesh, but very strong in the spirit. And if you've eaten from Jezebel's table, you might as well be Jezebel. You better disfellowship yourself from the spirits that try to destroy what God is trying to do. And I speak that under the anointing of the Holy Ghost today. Not trying to put fear upon anyone's heart. But you better watch what you say in here this time. God's keeping a record, and God's watching. God said, I got 7,000. They ain't bowed their knee. They ain't worried about Jezebel. You don't worry about it. You go preach. There's an Elisha that you're going to anoint. I look across this church, and I've seen so many young men that God has put in his church and put me over as a pastor. And I see great men of God, sorry men of God being used, these young preachers in this church. I'm rough on them, I'm hard on them. Brother Caleb tell you, I kicked him off the platform because he didn't shine his shoes. Said, did you shine your shoes? Don't get back on my platform. You know, I said that so to give somebody that's looking for a reason to criticize the pastor, you can criticize me for that. Because there is no Bible for me putting a man off the platform because he won't shine his shoes. But there's plenty of Bible for me setting a man down that won't submit himself to the authority of the man of God who put his life. So Brother Caleb didn't have him on the telephone today. He didn't have any shoe polish. But he could have asked the pastor for like a load to. But he went and got him some cooking oil. And he put that cooking oil on his shoes, and he went to Reese and said, Aunt Reese, how's them shoes for us? They look good. He says, cooking oil. Don't tell him, tell you. Now I'm thinking that wouldn't rebel in Caleb. It's just all you had. But he said, the man of God tells me I need to shine my shoes. I'm going to shine my shoes. If I've ever spoke truth to this church, I'm going to speak some truth to this church, but not to this church. But God is fixing to restore his pastors. And people once again are going to respect the man of God. And they're going to believe the man of God. Then they'll quit trying to destroy the man of God. Because only a fool would put their hand against the man of God. Because the Word of God said, touch not mine anointing, and do my prophet no harm. So when you start putting your mouth against the man of God, you're already in trouble with God. But you mark these words this day, and you can mark this day. I'm not telling you it'll be tomorrow. Reese, I didn't understand what last night was about. Before this service first started, I took care of some things because I thought it was the husband thing to do. But today I know that now God is fixing to show you He's God. How can you be saved without a preacher? Jezebel hates the man of God. Jezebel won't stop when she kills one man of God. She'll keep killing and keep killing. They had to hide the prophets in the cave because everyone Jezebel found, she killed. I'm telling you, we're living in a day, we're living the day just before God comes back for His church. And if you ever needed a man of God in your life, you need a man of God in your life. If you can't respect a man of God God put in your life, you need to seek the face and pray that God will put that man in your life. But you hear what I'm saying? You can study the Word of God, but you will never be saved without a pastor in your life. You twist it, you do what you want to do with it, but you got to have a pastor in your life. I have a pastor in my life. The young man asked me the other day, why in the name of God would you have a church forward? Because I like being accountable. I like being accountable. Don't mean they're going to run me, but it means they can come and say, well, what in the world is going wrong with you? We saw you down at the tavern the other night. Not if that happens, you know what to do. But I promise you, if you find me down there, I'm going to be praying for somebody. Had a gentleman the other day stop by. He was just having a party, but before I walked out, he said, I know, Pastor, I'm drinking and I'm drunk. But pray for me. I said, you know I am. And I'm going to pray for you. You need a man of God in your life. You need a man of God in your life that'll stand and tell you no. That'll speak things to you and speak truth in your life. If your pastor is telling you yes to everything you go with, that's the first red flag. You need to get another pastor. You don't need a pastor that's always yes. You need a pastor say, that ain't right, you better pray about it. I am a pastor, not a dictator. There will never be nobody that will come to me and can willfully say to me, you told me no. I say, I told you, you better pray about it. It was a mistake. Because there's a difference in a pastor and a dictator. The pastor is praying for your soul. Reese and I, over the last couple of weeks, have prayed for everybody in this church. God, redeem us, because I don't want anybody to be lost. It is not God's will that any should perish, but all should come to repentance. You see, so in everybody's life, there's going to come a place that you're going to need a second touch. And it's usually when you get to that point that you really feel like your days are numbered. And you won't have to fight much longer. Then you'll find yourself God. Like the song says, Lord, I need a greater touch. My touch from yesterday is gone. But if you'll give me, Lord, another touch, I'll have the strength to carry on. Elijah jumped up, washed his face, and went back to preaching. I want to tell you what. It's time that we as the men of God, pastors, evangelists, prophets, it's time that we stop worry about offending people. God didn't call us to paticate people. He called us to preach to people and to preach the word of God to people. Not to okay your sin, but to love you in your sin. There's a big difference. And sometimes people will say, I've heard that, well, that pastor don't believe anything because I saw him hanging out with that guy and he's a drunk. That's who Jesus was hanging out with. But he wasn't condoning what they were doing, but he was being a friend to the lost. It is our job as the church to reach the lost. I look at, was in a business the other day, or I was actually at a home the other day, and I watched these people, and I saw how they was carrying on. And it didn't take long to realize that this entire little area was an area with a lot of perversion that was going on there. And I began to think, oh God, what a revival. What a revival. If you could just change that. You could just flip that around. Straighten their mind out. You see, there's one thing that I know beyond the shadow of a doubt. And I know that you want, well, do you have Bible for that? I have Bible for I preach over this pulpit. I may try to explain it in a more modern day term. And by the way, I don't preach ignorance over the pulpit. Don't care what you say. I might mispronounce something. I might read something wrong. But when I preach in this pulpit, I don't preach ignorance. But this is the thing that I do know. That when I look at somebody and I pass judgment on him, there's a spirit that gets a hold of my family before you know it. That thing that I hate the most, I have my family. So I try very hard not to pass judgment on people because they messed up. I could have been that way. It could have been my lifestyle, but God was good to me. He gave me good parents. And even with the best parents in the world, Lord God, I could have been a criminal. But God loved me, had mercy on me. I thank God every day for His mercy that He's had on me. So what I see is God reaching for people. People that's never heard truth done. People that don't realize that God can love them no matter how bad they really are. That's what's fixing to happen. There's a revival spirit that I believe is fixing to sweep across our land. I believe it with all my heart. I believe God is going to shake us. God is going to stir us. I know He stirred my house. I know I got family members calling saying, pray for me. Pray for me. I gotta get my heart right with God. I want to tell you something. You haven't went too far for the Lord to love you. God loves you. Messed up, He loves you. Rich or poor, He loves you. God truly loves you. Now, if you're today and you're somewhere where Elijah was and you say, Lord, I just can't go anymore. Say, Lord, I need another touch. Lord, give me a second touch. Give me a second touch, Lord, that I can go on, that I can keep pushing forward. I ask you, Jesus. All right there, would you just worship the Lord? Three saints today, would you just worship the Lord?
But if you give me, Lord, another
We love you.
I'll have the strength to carry on.
God loves you, and I pray the peace of God puts on each and every home. God bless you.